Hi. I've been doing an analysis of the Bearing Book's coverage of Acts. We were talking about Acts chapter 15 and the intro to their coverage. In the last video, we spoke of how they plant in your head the idea that there's a governing body, even though that is not in the text. You can read Acts 15 for that. Also, they suggest that the Gentiles, because they were not required to be circumcised or follow Mosaic law, that then they jump to the conclusion that the Christian Jews did not do this any longer as well. And they further this inference in paragraph 6 on page 102 of the Bearing Book. So I'll read that paragraph. It required faith and humility on the part of Jewish believers to adjust to revealed truth. The law covenant had been replaced by the new covenant, so birth as a Jew no longer automatically made one a member of God's people. And for Jewish Christians who lived in Jewish communities, as did the believers in Judea, it took courage to confess Christ and to accept as fellow believers Gentiles who had been circumcised. So it's this particular phrase that they have, revealed truth, so that's like new truth. But the law covenant had been replaced. Where does it tell us that the law has been actually replaced? They reference two scriptures, Jeremiah 31 to 33, which we'll read in a minute with more verses, and Luke 22:20. So Luke 22 is the institution of the Lord's Supper that happens, and Jesus tells them that he's making a new covenant with them. But it's a new covenant. It's not a replacement covenant. He doesn't say that, because he also refers to the fact that one day he will eat Passover again with them. So he's not dissing everything before, nullifying the covenant. He's saying he's instituting something new with them at this point. Let's look at or read the Jeremiah reference then. Jeremiah 31, they reference 31 to 33. So I'm using their Bible, the New World Translation, the Silver Sword Edition. Okay, let's open it here to Jeremiah. Thought I had that marked. Jeremiah 31. Verses 31 to 33 is what they reference, but we're going to read right down to 37. Look, the days are coming, declares Jehovah, when I will make with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah a new covenant. It will not be like the covenant that I made with their forefathers on the day I took hold of their hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, my covenant that they broke, although I was their true master, declares Jehovah. I would like to note that master is how they translate it, but they do have a footnote which says their husband. So I think it's interesting that they decide to pick master instead of husband. Husband is a far more loving term of a bond between two, whereas master almost sounds like contract. But with marriage, it's for better or worse, right? All right, we'll continue. 33. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, declares Jehovah. I will put my law within them, and in their heart I will write it. And I will become their God, and they will become my people. And they will no longer teach one his neighbor, and each one his brother, saying, Know Jehovah, for they will all know me, from the least to the greatest of them, declares Jehovah. For I will forgive their error, and I will no longer remember their sin. This is what Jehovah says, who gives the sun for light by day, and the laws of the moon and the stars for light by night, who stirs up the sea and makes its waves boisterous, whose name is Jehovah of armies. If these regulations should ever fail, declares Jehovah, only then would the offspring of Israel cease to be a nation before me, always. This is what Jehovah says. If the heavens above could be measured and the foundations of the earth below could be explored, only then could I reject all the offspring of Israel for all they have done, declares Jehovah. It's as eternal as creation. That's the relationship with Israel, his covenant people. All right. So it does not nullify, this text that they're referring to does not replace or nullify the covenant God has with his people. The change that will happen is when the law is no longer an outward thing, but inward. It's in their hearts. He's going to write it in their hearts. The other aspect of this that I thought we should look at is Leviticus. God has said this about his people, that they would be unfaithful. He's known they would be unfaithful, that they would break their end, that they would be sinners and in need of something happening that's not from them but from God. Leviticus 26. If you read the whole of Leviticus 26, you get the history of Israel before it happens. So I'm only going to read a few verses just to illustrate this. Sorry. Leviticus 26. I'm going to read just verses 41, 44, and 45. Then I also walked in opposition to them by bringing them into the land of their enemies. Perhaps then their uncircumcised hearts will be humbled, and then they will pay off their error. So the Watchtower has a footnote for their uncircumcised heart as stubborn. 44 and 45 says, But despite all of this, while they are in the land of their enemies, I will never completely reject them, nor cast them away to the point of exterminating them, which would violate my covenant with them, for I am Jehovah their God. For their sakes I will remember the covenant with their ancestors, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt, under the eyes of the nations, in order to prove myself their God. I am Jehovah. So he knew what was going to happen. He knew, that's because he's God. He knows, and he has worked it out that they're going to be redeemed. All right, I'm going to link to a video from the Pure Worship series, Exile or Extermination, Why Israel has survived. According to the Jehovah's Witness theology, they should be long gone.